Good, you? I, I was just reviewing the website about the program. My energy might be low because I also had another appointment an hour and a half ago, and let's just say I didn't feel heard. And but I'm looking at the description of your program, and there's more of a possibility that it's a good fit for me. Um, So here's some things that I say at the beginning now because I've tried for a couple of years, even internationally, to find the right fit for me for a program. And one of the things I have to say is I live a life uncommon. I am an unorthodox thinker, therefore I behave in different ways. For example, in my master's degree, I completed all the courses except for the thesis because I didn't think my supervisors understood that they were using the term sustainability wrong. Eventually, I got frustrated after a few extended semesters where that's the only course that was left, and I just wrote a 26-page letter explaining to them what the difference between using the word sustainable and sustainability is. And in all in all due fairness, they were rec and tourism teachers, but the thing is they also claimed on their cards, to be sustainability experts, and it falls under system science. So I was looking at the website now, and there's one course that you guys offer that's called Systems Thinking and Analysis in Health Program Planning and Evaluation. And the other choice would be Health Economics and Public Health. So of course I'd choose the Systems Thinking one as a way also to try to stay away from the economics part because the paradigms I operate under are related to cultural repair. They're not business as usual where the problems keep accelerating, including global health. So for me, it'd be addressing a lot what's been happening to our brains over the years and is currently accelerating in a way that you can measure even in one lifetime, and that is making it harder for us to use the higher functions of our brain. And it relates very much to the theory that I've been working on for years of what happens to our brain when we started, even thousands of years ago, to domesticate each other as a species as much as we do plants and other animals. So the concept of domestication must be well explained, defined to a university so they don't try to do it to me because it wouldn't work out. I'm the originator of this theory. I know the difference between education and domestication. And the last appointment was heavy domestication, non-deviation from it. So it's discouraging. But the thing is that's kind of what my theory predicts is 99.99% of the interactions I'm going to have. So my questions to you is related to knowing, or the chances are of having a supervisor already associated with the university that would be very happy with a candidate like me. And the other thing is because I've been a critical thinker living a different lifestyle, is I've moved away from the magical paradigm of money. And of course you can't totally move away when everybody else is so domesticated in it unless you go on a desert island or something. But the thing is for me, it's very important as I don't use credit anymore or loans, that for me there's some sort of bartering, healthy relationship between myself as an independent professional and a university, which could include my tutoring students while there, or teaching lower level classes, or even programs of my own, or even playing on the badminton team because my level of play is high enough to coach or play. So that's two things that I want you to know at the beginning to see if it's possible to kind of move on with the discussion from here. Correct. So without a supervisor and without them even making efforts to connect with a supervisor even from a different institution, they could have, for example, made an effort to connect me to a supervisor because my thesis draft, which is available, the introduction to it is, you can tell it had a strong component in the K to 12 curriculum as a way to assess if we're promoting more an ecocentric worldview or anthropocentric worldview. And that university had a master's in leadership and education, so they could have said, okay, not only is it sustainability, but maybe our specialty, we should give you a primary supervisor. But no effort was ever made. So that was very discouraging. So this 26-page letter also says what it felt like for me to not be supported, my own faculty, when I was very clear, let's say in my entry letter, what my choices of research would be. So there was no effort to kind of even let me teach them things that they needed to know. There was no learning motivation on their part. So yes, so the thesis part is what I didn't do, which is the 607, I think, course in the master's. But all the other ones are there, so they provided a graduate diploma, which is what they did. Which of course you need a bachelor's to get a graduate diploma, but not everybody knows that. So it's a second cycle or graduate diploma. But it didn't include the thesis. But I can provide evidence of research experience in other ways, right? Yeah, I read that part. So you can give me information about at least who would be available, let's say January, or I don't know if you accept any time of the year or only for September. Uh, oh, oh, but that I can find on my own. But don't you know, kind of, let's say, who is more likely to enjoy having somebody such as myself? And when I say this, I don't mean somebody who doesn't meet the perfect criteria. To make it easier to cross the T's and dot the I's. I'm talking about somebody who will be excited that is already at different paradigms. Yes, the paradigms that are maybe needed for. Okay. Do you know? Do you know who helped to accept the unorthodox candidate that you were talking about in the past? Do you know who at least that person is? Can you find out and email me back on it if you don't? So okay, yeah, and I do understand this process. It's just sometimes on some university sites there are so many, and so many you don't get an answer, not in a timely fashion, or they don't seem to have understood the English to give a proper answer because, if you get too many emails and you don't pursue quality in life, the response shows signs of reading and writing comprehension disabilities, and that's been frustrating for me in the last few years. So that's why I've been trying to do more informational interviews now with people that work directly with graduate programs and might know more quickly who to refer me to. So there is a potential lead with that lady. What I can do is I could email you back just one thing, which is an abstract description of an essay I wrote, because that should be enough to know if somebody is interested in reading this. And then, you might even suggest a few other people that might be linked to this or curious about this. But it has to be that person that you refer me to is not a generic academic business as usual faculty member, because they will have emotions interacting with me that they might not be able to manage because of how differently I think. And I don't say this in being wrong. I say this in just being very different than the norm, but still being able to debate all of my reasoning very comfortably. But not everybody's comfortable with somebody at this level of competence. Sometimes when they're used to a submissive candidate, for example, right? And I've already had those kind of experiences, and I would say the majority of people in postgraduate studies have had these kind of experiences. They often don't even end up studying what they had wanted to study, because there was a level of imbalance of power, and so knowledge actually went backwards instead of forwards. So I'll send you this one abstract, and feel free to send it to anybody you want. But before I write something very, very long or add too many attachments, which decreases the chance somebody would follow up, then I'll start with this abstract to you, and I'll start by studying also the potential profiles of supervisors. Can you? Is it Anim? Is that how you pronounce it? I mean, I'll just finish with the other part because we need to get into the possibility of bartering, because I have so much to offer, and I'm hoping to partake in a more human community type relationship with a university in this way. The sharing of knowledge and empowering of education. So, what can you offer as an answer to that? Okay. How to do bartering of services instead of moving money around, which is, a totally unappealing concept for me to partake in the advancement of, knowledge and sciences, and doesn't fit my lifestyle anymore to actually pursue the monetary paradigm, money. So it has to be that also maybe a supervisor would be helpful in funding, but it's not like I don't want to be. I actually gave a counseling session to somebody yesterday who has a dream and who's has this center open to help youth, except that she's not able to do the dream part because she's buried in trying to get funding. And for me, that's not something I want to be involved in. That means the faculty and supervisor would have to help make sure that I'm not distracted by these outdated paradigms of who has to pay who by what deadline. I prefer to come up with an adult level commitment in writing that I would volunteer my services for the benefit of the university and its students in this way, as a way to fully compensate for what might be needed for me to be on campus and doing this program. So, yeah. Does it include, like housing? Because I'm from another province. Is that under your specific program website information or just any graduate? Yeah. Tell me where to find it when you find it. Okay. Yeah. But do you have staff that help people get into this so that it's not too time consuming for me, that I can focus on the program? And I'm not saying the work part, I'm saying finding these placements. But also, when you mention an amount, I'm not sure if that's enough, let's say, for me to pay for housing if I find housing on my own. But again, finding housing is also a challenge, right? If you want to attract quality candidates from around the world, it's kind of helpful when they don't live locally already. It's unlikely, right? Can you tell me? I'm sorry. I'm sorry you made that cool face when I was about to interrupt. Um, but Amin, all right. The thing is when you mention that amount, I still don't know, like, let's say how much it covers the actual fees of the program itself. Because for me, I just want to meet the basics, of being able to not worry about food and a roof and a comfortable night's sleep and the fees of the actual program. I don't need to go beyond that and make a profit while I'm there, right? So so for me, that's why it becomes simpler when somebody's not a capitalist, because pretty much everybody is really living in countries like ours, and I could say almost every country now, whether they call themselves communists, is they're always trying to get ahead in some way in an international capitalism monopoly game, right? Is For me, once we know this about me and we believe it, because I don't wear a mask, this is really who I am, and I can prove this for years, is then it'd be easier to just sign an agreement that I do, this amount of hours here in this program and this here. Simplifying it by admitting the truth of who I am and how I want to balance things out, so I can not worry about, looking at my bank account every day and worrying about that, but actually focusing on the research is that's important to me as well. And hopefully, when we think of supervisors, or when I ask them that, I want to be sure that maybe I include a statement that I don't want to be spending more than 2% of my time monitoring funding of my program. I want to just enter an agreement. Now, if supervisors have been there long enough, they might have the connections in administrations at higher level and be able to do this. Yeah. Okay, continue. Thank you. Yeah, and I probably wouldn't use the word problem because I don't see it as a problem of mine. I see it as a problem of the system, especially the system of the advancement of the sciences. Yeah. So, so thank you for that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to email you back just the one document, which is an abstract, just to see if it piques the curiosity of that one person you're thinking about. And I will also start that way with the supervisors that I may choose to contact. But now that I'm deciding to continue with our conversation to go to the next step of pursuing this possible program, can you tell me if it's certain that you have to be on campus? Is it full time? Could I start part time? Like even in January, just to do one of the electives before possibly starting in September. Is that possible without doing a quick relocation? Because I'd like to still have some sort of probation period between us because, of the bad experiences I've had, and even just in the interview before, which was actually the same university. So I need to know we're a good fit in the sense of starting slow and maybe even not starting in person. What's your response to that? Okay. I don't understand that part. If I do some in advance, then I'll have a lighter load when I'm there in person, right? So I'm not sure. Yes, yes, some are like that, yeah. Yeah. But those courses could be the exception of the ones that I stick to the regular schedule. But I'm just wondering if sometimes some of them might be in the summer, or I could at least do one before September just to get an idea. I could actually, yeah, it could be even a condition of the supervisor. Say, I'm willing to see how you do in one of my courses in January, and I'll accept online or something, or Zoom or whatever is possible. And then after that, it would, yeah, go ahead. What's the length difference? Full time is 4 years, right? And oh, it's double? Okay, so it's kind of half the workload? Okay. But and the semesters are only the regular, fall and winter semesters, right? Always. There's no it's very rare that some even a research or lab work is in the summer, right? Okay. Oh, okay, summer. Okay, summer. Okay. Okay, and spring for you is the dates of, let's say, May to July sometimes, right? No, no, I mean the spring one. Because you're saying there's 3 semesters? Oh, man, that's the entire summer pretty much then. So it's a combined spring summer. Okay. Okay. Okay, so full time is pretty much every month of the year, except for maybe one month where maybe a few weeks is on break if you're not falling behind. And the part time one is are you skipping certain semesters or they're half course load semesters? Okay, that might sound better for me. I'm not in a rush, and I think just getting back to school after that many years might be a good idea to do it like that. Um, and also, having now found housing that I kind of am happy with in BC, I'd be able to come back to it by just doing certain semesters when there's some free time. Okay, well, did I get it right? Did I incorporate your answer properly? You're saying part-time would be able to entirely skip semesters or have them half a course load but still in person, or either way? Okay. Yeah, but for me, there's that point you're making about handling the work, but there's also just moving from provinces, to make it efficient. Yeah, so that's why. I kind of agree with that because I think graduate studies is you're also forming a unity in a smaller group class. What is the maximum size that you have for these programs? Maximum, yeah. How many? That's what it starts? Yeah, okay. Your hair is cool. I wonder what it looks like without your headset. Straight up or comes down a little bit on your forehead? Naturally curly? Okay, so okay. So I kind of wish I had your hair, and maybe if sometimes you're tired of your hair, as you wish you had my hair. But the thing is we have to adapt, and this is who we are. And okay, so thank you for your time. I'll send you that email right away, just to follow up, and just keep it short. Just say, please pass on this abstract to the person, because if that person then wants to read it, it's the beginning of a good sign. And if that person reads it, they might then recommend specifically who the next attempt at supervisor might be. Now, we need one supervisor at the onset for entry, but often there's multiple supervisors for the thesis, right? At least two. Okay, okay. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for your. Okay, have a good one. Bye bye.